Well, Merry Christmas! It's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day, and I wish you a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas. You know that song, We Wish You a Merry Christmas? I love that song. That carol emerged in the western part of England in the 1500s, and it was during a time when wealthy lords of the manor had an unwritten obligation to provide Christmas treats to the common people. Carolers, or wassailers as they were known, would sing at rich people's doors, and they would refuse to leave until they received food and drink, especially that famous figgy pudding, a rich, dense cake that was filled with figs and dates and spices. It took weeks to prepare it, not nearly as long as it took to prepare sugar plums, which by the way had no plums, but that's a whole nother story. I don't know what your Christmas traditions are today, but I hope they include some good food. If you were living in medieval or Tudor England in the 1200s to the 1600s, you might have boar's head, big old pig head, as the center of your Christmas feast. You might have that wassail, the hot spiced ale or cider that would often have floating apples in the top. They had frumenti. It was a spicy wheat porridge that they would eat with currants and egg yolks. Mince pies were big back then. My dad loved a good mincemeat pie. If you move to the Victorian era, the figgy pudding, that's when a lot of these carols were written down and modified. Figgy pudding became a big thing. It didn't have any figs, by the way, but it did have raisins and currants and generally brandy to soften it up. They would roast a goose. We have some mean geese that could do with some good roasting. The sugar plums, of course, those hard candies that weren't real plums, and my favorite, gingerbread, came into vogue. Now, let's talk about the hymn for a moment. Enough of the food, it just makes me hungry. But notice the progression of this hymn. It starts with polite wishes. We wish you a Merry Christmas, and then it moves to demanding figgy pudding, and finally declaring we won't go until we get some. This wasn't just about food, it was about the social contract of the day. It was one of the few times of the year when the poor could make demands on the rich. Kind of a reversal of social order. But it points us to a power in community. The we in the carol, we wish you a Merry Christmas. This wasn't individual begging, it was community action and a call for community action. It's one of the beauties of our churches and synagogues. The church in Acts 2, verses 44 and 45 talks about how all the believers were together and held everything in common. The idea is that Christmas joy and blessings should be expanded beyond your own confines. God blesses us to be a blessing to others. That's the purpose. Not to be a sponge that soaks it in, but to be a vessel that pours it out. And maybe the most important thing we can find then as we do it is kind of my third idea here. It's the gift of joy. That's what we're actually wishing. We wish you not just a Merry Christmas, but good tidings for Christmas and a happy New Year. Despite all the demands, all the social contract, this carol ends with genuine wishes for others' welfare. You know what it says in Acts, I think 20:35, it's more blessed to give than to receive. That's what these carolers were happy to do, both give and receive. So let's recapture some of that Christmas spirit. Enjoy your food. Have a very Merry Christmas. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's why I made this your video thought for today.